All right, let's check out, firstly, that vegan teacher. That vegan... Oh, hiccups, oh no. That vegan teacher has had a religious experience, and, the Jesus part is clearly meant to be a bit, what's the word? It's rhetorical, and clearly it's rhetorical. But then she goes on about how she claims she talked to the pastor or priest of this church and some nuns, and I can't tell if she wants us to believe that story's real or not, but it's definitely not real. So let's take a look at her newest creation.
Good morning, everybody. How are you today? I decided to come over to church. Yeah, it's super early in the morning. I just threw on a sweater and I rode on my bike over here because I wanted to talk to Jesus, because everybody told me, Jesus is the way to go. Through Jesus, all good will happen. So I came to talk to him. There's only one little problem. He's stuck. Yeah, he can't move. I said, Jesus, how's it going? Are you able to help us? He said, I can't help you. I said, why not? He said, because I'm trapped. I'm trapped. They wrapped me up in gold and stuck me here and I can't even move. I'm like, oh my God, poor you. How is it? How do you feel? He said, terrible. He said, I'm supposed to be helping people and I can't move at all. I don't even know what the hell's going on in the world.
I'm not Christian. I haven't been Christian since, late middle school, early high school, maybe even mid-high school. I don't remember the exact date. It was kind of a gradual process. But I feel like this is maybe, just kind of a weird usage of Christianity. But, what are you gonna do? Halloween Town with a tweet. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Sure. Retweet. No, likely bronze, R.E. Jesus being wrapped in gold. It looks gold, though, so it's fine. One Speedy Yoshi says, isn't there a horror story or something about someone literally being made into a statue? The only one kind alike that I know is a Five Nights at Freddy's story about a girl turning into a gummy statue and eaten alive. Yes, it's real. Gumdrop Angel. I'm not familiar with any stories like that.
I said, what do you mean you don't know? Because a lot of people are, especially animal rights activists, have been trying to contact you and ask you for help. Because, factory farming is terrible right now. And we need help to help all these animals. He said to me, what's factory farming? I said, you don't know what factory farming is? I said, it's where they have billions of animals trapped in cages in Holocaust-like conditions, just like what the Nazis did to the Jews. And he said, what do you mean? What? Who? I said, the Nazis, what they did to the Jews. He says, I don't know what's going on.
Jesus doesn't know about the Holocaust, so that's unfortunate. Imagine you meet Jesus, the most loved holy figure on the planet in terms of number of people who believe in him, and you gotta explain the Holocaust to Jesus. That's not a job I'd envy. I'd be like, oh, no, Jesus, alright, okay, so I guess we gotta go back to the Napoleonic Wars. Spent a couple hours explaining the progress from that to World War I to World War II. It's just a lot to unpack. Nick says, stop with the fucking Holocaust comparisons. I agree. I wish she would stop.
I said, well, what do you mean you don't know what's going on? I said, here, take my cell phone, have a look. I'll show you some footage of what happened in World War II and how they're doing the same thing to pigs right now. They put them in gas chambers.
Wait, Jesus doesn't know about the Holocaust, but he knows how to operate a smartphone? I feel like there's a disconnect here.
He's like, I don't know what a gas chamber is. I'm like, oh my God. He said, well, look at me. I'm stuck here with my hands up in the air. And they wrapped me.
Jesus, a gas chamber is like a crucifix, but less painful. So, Jesus might actually be pro-gas chamber. Jesus is like, yeah, it's bad, but the Romans hung me on a cross. I would have loved a gas chamber.
In gold, and they thought that would be a good idea. They thought that would be a good way to honor me. He said, well, I can't help it.
Also, Jesus knows about the Nazis. He killed a bunch when they opened the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay, that's canon to real life. Speedy Yoshi says, speaking of explaining the Holocaust, oh no, and then there's a link. Archduke's death removes danger of European conflict. Murdered prince said to have been a militarist who favored Germany's aggressive policy was favored in English circles. Oh, that did not age well. Oh, the Twitter account's poorly aged things. That tracks. Poor Archduke Ferdinand. Imagine your most prominent role in history is being killed and inadvertently leading to the events of World War I, which lead to the events of World War II. In fairness, World War I was probably inevitable, based on the sort of surrounding issues and the fact that after the Napoleonic Wars, so many European nations sort of came into allyship with each other. Sort of a powder keg waiting for a spark. So, it's not Archduke Ferdinand's fault. Technically. RTK says, wasn't that the Holy Spirit? And yes, I know they're all the same, supposedly. I don't know. They have different functions.
Anybody anymore. I said, oh my God. So what are we supposed to do then? He said, well, you can try and talk.
He had a sick stash, though. True. Archduke. You know, I appreciate that when you search Archduke, the first thing that comes up is Ferdinand. Look at that goddamn stash. That's absolutely a mustache worth starting 2 world wars over. Helen of Troy, eat your fucking heart out.
To God directly, or just, go in the church. Maybe the priest will be able to help you. I said, priest? Okay, I'll try it out. So I went in there and I tried to talk to the priest. I said,
oh, this is the part where it's like a complete lie. She claims she went in and talked to the priest, and it's all... It's the most that happened and then everyone clapped story of all time. Wagroads, thanks for gifting a sub.
Hey, listen, we need a vegan world. There are billions of animals suffering, and the planet too is suffering. The earth is suffering.
Is she quiet for you guys? Let me turn it up a little bit. It looks like she's maybe a little quiet.
Carbon footprint from animal agriculture is terrible. And the priest said, oh, yeah, is it? I said, what do you mean? You don't know? They said, well, yeah, I guess we do know, but we don't know what to do about it. I said, well, are you guys all vegan in here? And he said, I don't know, how don't you have a cup of coffee and we'll talk about it? He said, would you like some milk with your coffee? I said, milk? No, I don't want cow's milk in my coffee. And he said, well, that's all we got. I said, but this is church. You should have vegan milks. Don't you have some soy milk and some oat milk? He said, well, they sound interesting. No, I don't have...
I don't know what priests do all day, in fairness. I know if it's like a Catholic priest, they take confession, and I'm sure they work on what sermons they're going to be doing, and they probably do research, like theological research, to better understand the Bible, stuff like that. And I'm sure they spend time, talking to people who want to come in. I don't know. If a vegan lady like this came in, and I'm a priest, I don't know if I take the time to sit down and have coffee with her when her complaints are going to be mainly about whether or not my church has vegan milk. I don't know if there's better things for a Catholic priest to do. There's certainly worse things a Catholic priest could be doing, but is this really a good use of church time? Hydrate. Marcus Drake says, I see your stash and raise you Judge Holmes. Oh, that's a powerful stash. That is a very powerful stash. It looks like he's breathing out a typhoon about to wreak havoc on the coastline of old. He's like the human depiction of old-timey maps where it would have the cloud that would be like with the face and it would like be blowing a storm. He's that, but a human. Nick says almond milk. Almond milk's good.
Have them, but should I get some? I said, of course you should get some. I said, look at this big place. You guys are supposed to be a place of worship and of love. And he said, well, yes, we are. And then a nun came along and she said, oh, I heard about this vegan thing. She said, isn't that where you don't eat animals? I said, well, that's vegetarian. You don't want to just be vegetarian. You want to be vegan. And they said, I said to them, would you understand the difference? And the priest said, not really, actually. So I said, oh my God, well, let me start to explain to you a little bit. I said, so what happens is in the animal industries, what they do is they murder baby boy chicks at birth because they can't lay eggs, you see? And they said, what? Why would they do that? I said, I don't know. It's absolutely horrible. I said, but that's why you guys shouldn't be eating eggs anymore. And so the nun said, oh my God, I didn't even know that. I said, exactly, most people don't know. She said, okay, I won't eat eggs anymore. And then the priest said, well, what else? What else should we know about? I said, well, did you know, they put these pigs in gas chambers at 6 months old. They're just babies. They put 200 of them on a truck and they murder them. And the priest said, what? I said, I know. Most people don't even know what goes on. I said,
this adult priest is just learning about the concept that food comes from animals. RTK says, and that priest's name? Albert Einstein. The aristocrats. It can't be the aristocrats. There wasn't enough incest.
That's what bacon is. That's what ham is. That's what sausage is. So the priest said, oof, I don't think I should be eating that anymore. I said, oh my God, I'm so happy to hear that. I said, but what about all the other stuff? I mean, do you wear leather? He says, well, I have leather shoes. I said, well, don't do that because that's the skin of an animal. It's not right to take the skin off of an animal. And he said, yeah, you're right. That doesn't sound too nice. And so then another nun came up and started joining us, and she said, this sounds like a really interesting conversation. She said, my sister is vegan actually, and she never really talked about it that way. She just sort of eats a bunch of plants. I said, well, she's probably not a real vegan because real vegans
even in her fake story, she has to gatekeep an imaginary vegan who isn't vegan enough because she mainly talks about liking eating plants and not the suffering of animals. What the fuck? Nick says, this is the worst priest walks into a bar joke ever. And Goth Geek Gaming says what Jonathan Frakes thinks of this story.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a total fabrication. It never happened. It never happened. This one was invented by a writer. Not this time. It never happened. It's false. It never happened. It's a fake. It's fiction. It's an urban legend that never happened. No way. We got you. Not a chance. Not this time.
Netflix needs to pick this back up and rehire Jonathan Frakes. This would be a good Netflix show, I think. Or, some other streaming service. I don't think it'd be very much to make. You just gotta do shitty reenactments. Or, fake reenactments of the fake stories. I'd watch that.
It never happened. It never happened. We made this one up. It's fiction. We made up this one. We made it up. Not this time. Wrong. Not this time. Not this time. You're wrong. Not this time. It never happened.
Thank you, friend of the show, Jonathan Frakes. Much appreciated.
Let's talk about the animals. See, being a vegan is about animals and protecting them. So then...
So long as Frakes has time to be on Picard and Lower Decks, sure. I mean, he's barely in those, but yeah.
Another man came up and...
What show was that from? Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. It was a show in the 90s and early 2000s where Jonathan Frakes hosted most of the seasons. I think one guy did a different guy did the last season or the first season. I don't remember. I don't like that guy as much. But anyway, he'd come out and he'd be like, we're going to tell you 3 or 4 stories. Some are true, some are false. We'll tell you at the end of the episode which ones are true stories and which ones are fake. See if you can guess. It's just a silly, show where it's cheesy reenactments of weird crime or supernatural stories and trying to determine which ones are true and which ones are false.
And said, well, I heard the word vegan. Don't you, is it vegan or vegan? And I said, well, old people used to call it vegan, but we call it vegan.
I've never heard anyone call veganism veganism. Is that a thing?
She said, oh yeah, okay. And she said, so what are we supposed to do? So now I have 3 nuns and I have a priest in front of me. And I
Doubt.
I said, well, everybody should be talking about veganism in your church. You should be serving plant milks and when you have potlucks, it should only be vegan stuff. And they said, okay, well, we could try. And I said, and listen,
it took one conversation to change this entire church's policy on dairy and meat products. She's not even a member of the church. She's just a random lady who showed up.
Also, don't forget that to tell your parishioners that being vegan is healthy for all stages of development. You know, you can be healthy when you're a baby and as a vegan, because we're all born vegan. And they said, what do you mean we're born vegan? I said, well, when you come out of your mom, you never wanted to hurt animals, right? They're like, right? So I said, that means you're...
That's so stupid. Babies don't know how to do anything. The babies don't know how to do anything. They're babies. Like, if human beings were naturally vegan, we would all be vegan. We would be, because it would have gone back, you know, to the beginning of civilization. People would just be like, all right, we can cultivate crops now. We're done eating animals. Human beings are not naturally vegan, whatever that means, you know? Human beings biologically are omnivorous. People make the conscious choice what they want to eat. One Speedy Yoshi says, I only went to Mormon churches, but what kind of church is this to have a priest and like 6 million nuns? I know, right? They're just agreeing to get her out as quickly as possible. I think this story is just bullshit. I think it's just completely fabricated.
You're vegan. You're born vegan, and your mother's milk is vegan because it belongs to you. It doesn't belong to a cow. So then they said, I never thought of it that way. I said, yeah, exactly. Would you ever go underneath a cow and just start sucking?
Tea with Goblin says, morning Hannah, hello chat, have we done Marcel yet? You know he has embedded more of your videos on his stupid website. Did he? No, we haven't watched him yet. Let me look. What is it called? Is it like Peacemaker Society? Peacemaker Society. Yeah, I think it's another case of the video probably got deleted and he doesn't have a copy, so he's using my critique of it, even though that doesn't really make any sense. But that's fine. He can embed my videos if he'd like. Gives me views. Not many people go to his channel, but nonetheless. RTK says, Harry did on Resident Alien R.E. going under a cow. I've never seen that show. Nick says, has she ever heard of Tom Green? And Wagroad says, VT needs to talk, or vegan teacher needs to talk to a therapist desperately. That's good advice for everyone, I think. Hydrate.
Just like that? If you didn't have a cup? And they all started.
Peter's having a meltdown he posted 10 minutes ago on Rumble or YouTube. Give me a link, please.
Laughing, they said, no, I guess not. I said, well, exactly, right? So it doesn't make any sense. We shouldn't be drinking the milk from another species, and we shouldn't be drinking milk from, because we're not babies anymore. So then this other priest came up, and he started saying, listen, I've been hearing a little bit about what you're talking about, and I think that we should have a whole sermon about this. What we need is some vegan music. Do you have any songs? I said, do I have any songs? I have tons of songs. I can come and sing with you guys. And he said, that would be so cool. Well, how about you join the choir? And I said, well, I love singing in a choir.
He knew you for 5 seconds, which means he's going to write a sermon about why veganism is good, and he's going to invite you to come sing your songs, because that makes sense.
Oh my God, that would be a dream come true. You mean you'll sing my vegan songs here? Like, we can sing about changing your religion all the time? And they said, well, wait, what?
Does she truly think we believe all these people would be at the church at one time? I don't know. Because, it's possible she's being facetious here, like she was with the Jesus statue thing, and she's intentionally telling an over-the-top story. But, she doesn't tip her hat to that at any point, so it's hard to tell. Speedy Yoshi says, I was on a bus, and then this disgusting slob of a man with a huge stomach on a shirt that read Triggered Snowflake on it got on. He pulled out a huge triple cheeseburger. Just the smell made me want to throw up. He may have noticed my reaction and got up close to me, smacking his lips as he chewed it. I proceeded to own his ass by telling him all about vegan documentaries and how the animal holocaust is a thing. Then everyone stood up and clapped, and we got free vegan snacks. That's a good copy pasta. That should be a thing. Nick says, so cocaine is vegan, good to know. And Stone Corbell says, ants breed aphids to extract a kind of fluid they secrete. One animal eating the product of another is completely natural. Let me see if I can find the Peter thing. Peter! Oh, oh God. Oh no! What are you doing, Peter? No! We'll watch that a little later. Did you do another one over here? Oh, Jesus. That was Peter without a shirt on, just for the record.
Well, you know, because I change my religion all the time.
Uploaded 20 minutes ago from Peter. Yeah.
I think we...
Sometimes I'm Catholic, and you know, sometimes I think it's not so great to be Catholic. Like, you guys have done some weird stuff, some of you priests, to those kids, you know.
Yeah, when I'm in front of a Catholic priest, my first instinct is to tell them, "Are you one of the ones that does the boy touching?"
Like those boys, and they said, "Well, that's not us." I said, "Well, I know, you're right." I said, "But you also have sometimes you have some strange views about
the." To be fair, it's kind of warm here in northeastern Pennsylvania, I'm sure.
LGBTQ community, you know, we should protect them, and you know, we should be loving to everybody. And they said, yeah, well, we personally agree with that, but you know, it's a bit touchy. I said, well, look, let's stick to the things that we have in common. So you agree that we shouldn't be hurting animals, right? And they said, yes. I said, so you don't want to wear leather anymore, you're not going to buy the skin of baby cows anymore, and you agree that we should start to serve only veggies, fruits, nuts, and seeds, just to only put those in our shopping cart. Do you agree? Because peace begins on our plates. So we have to open up our hearts. And they said, that's a cool rhyme. Yeah, we agree with that. I said, oh my God, this is so great. All right, so when do we start? They said, well, come and join the choir. I said, actually, I kind of write some songs, you know, so maybe we could sing some of my songs in church. And they said, well, yeah, absolutely. I said, I've got one. Change your religion like you change your underwear. Change your religion, show God that you really care. And they sort of stopped me and they said, well, do you have any others? I said, sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. I have others. They said, because, you know, singing about underwear in church, they said it might not go over. I said, come on, people have a sense of humor.
Yes, I'm sure what the Catholic priest would take issue with is the usage of the word underwear, not the fact that the song is about changing your religion and you want to sing it in a Catholic church.
He said, well, yeah, well,
Speedy Yoshi says, someone should tell the vegan teacher cocaine ain't vegan. Also, I like how Peter is still using the no persona from 2016. It's been 5 years, Peter. We can show you the woman crying about President Trump. Daddy Sume says, Pittsburgh represent. Daddy Sume says, haha, bit touchy, like the priests. And Morok says, Catholics literally think they're eating the flesh and blood of Christ. Is that vegan? I would think so, because he gave it willingly within the canon of Christianity. So I would think that's vegan. He gave it consensually.
The nun said, oh, well, I'd be fine with that. She's like kind of doing a little dancey thing. Anyway, to make a long story short, you know, church wasn't that bad. I was expecting it to be a lot worse. I told them about poor Jesus over here, how he's stuck and wrapped in gold, and they said, yeah, that was the old parishioners who did that. They just decided to stick him in there. I said, well, now he can't really help us. They said, well, you know, that's, you know, he's doing the best he can. He's you know, trying to talk to people who stop by. He's trying to tell them to be kind to animals, but he doesn't really know what's going on because he doesn't have a cell phone, and he doesn't even know really what the internet is. So I said, well, okay, you know what? I'm going to go here, like not every day, but often, and I'm going to try and talk to him and tell him what's going on with the factory farms and the billions of chickens that are being harmed. I said, did you guys know that they crush the baby boy chicks in blenders because they can't lay eggs? And
it's more of a mulcher than a blender. Its blades kind of interlocked like this. It's not like a spinny blender. It's like a...
The priest said, what?
It's like a shredder. Shredder. That's what I'm thinking of.
I said, and the nun said, oh my God. So yeah, I mean, you know, I told them all about it. I told them each, you know, a couple of times, because sometimes they were just like, you know, just kind of...
You need to see that. I've seen it. It's not great.
Busy and getting interrupted, so I had to repeat myself.
It's quick at the very least. That's what I would say about it. It's pretty instantaneous, but yeah, I'm sure it's not pleasant.
A couple of times, because...
It's pretty gross.
It was one of those conversations where people come in and out. But anyway, yeah, so here's Jesus. Unfortunately, he can't really help. Yo, Jesus, don't worry, I'm going to come by, okay? And I'm going to let you see my cell phone. Can you see it from here? I'll show you the screen. I'll explain to you everything that's going on. All right? Yeah, I'll show you the different...
Wouldn't that grind all the bones into it? Yeah, they don't care. They're just trying to get rid of them. those aren't chicks that get used for anything. They're just like the boy chicks that are useless to them, so they just throw them away. They're just trying to get rid of them. One Speedy Yoshi says, holy shit, was scrolling through Twitter and this is the perfect time to send this. Pour one out for the fake meat ET that people ate at a barbecue in Sweden. Oh my god. I wonder what they made it out of. Is it just beef, or did they make it out? It doesn't look like beef. It looks like some other meat. I don't know. It's kind of gross, though. Funny idea.
Different footage. You can watch Dominion with me and Earthlings and Cowspiracy and Forks Over Knives, all of it. All right? So, you know, we're all doing our best in the world. You guys, make sure that if you go to church, that you talk to your priests and your ministers and you tell them how important it is that we're kind to animals going forward. And I want to thank everybody from this incredible building here who was so open to me, so honest and so kind about, you know, expressing themselves and saying, you know, how they didn't know yet. So that was sort of cute. And that they say that going forward, they're going to try to be as vegan as possible. So thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in the next video. If you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Press the notification bell, and you're going to see videos coming up on screen. Tap on those if you're curious. Have a look at my site, and I'll see you guys all soon. Love you. Bye for now.
That's very strange. She posts so many videos now. She posts like 3 or 4 a day. Good for her, I guess. Speedy Yoshi says, ma'am, please stop walking around our church premises. We've called the police on you before. And Xenon Exemer, thanks for 10 months. Appreciate it.